So welcome everybody. Yeah, thanks so much for making time on your weekend and a Sunday morning to come and join this call. Congratulations to all the people who entered the social media competitions and were chosen. Yay, that's really exciting. Yeah, so thanks and thanks for everybody for making time, whether you're lucky winners or just lucky to be here. So I thought that we might just start by, first of all, acknowledging Sue, and for all the amazing work you do in the world, Sue. So thank you so much. Yeah, to you and David for being role models for those who are lucky enough to live in your community, but globally, you are an inspiration, both of you, inspiration to so many people. So
Thank you,
yeah,
Meg.
if I can speak for myself, but on behalf of so many who I know, just around the world. Yeah, thank you for sticking with your ideals and your the simplicity and just the way that you and David both operate in the world is such a strong message that is so needed right now in this world of people who live in a world that thinks that can live without limits. So thank you for modeling another way. I know for
It's
me personally, in our household, that's been incredible.
well, in fact, what else would you do when you see how simplicity fills your life with pleasure, contentment, and joy? It's a no-brainer.
Yep. Um, so yeah, welcome everybody. Um, we don't really have a plan on we don't really have a plan for how this is going to work. I just ask that everybody please puts themselves on mute. But we are going to open it up to questions. But if everybody can just mute in the meantime, um, that would be great. And um, yeah, and then I thought we just open it up to uh, questions. Um, and then take it from there. Also, a few people have sent in their questions. So I also have those. And we're recording, so I thought it would be good for those people who weren't able to make it. I can send them the video, or we might share it on social media. Yeah. So if
Who's
anybody,
up for starting? If not, we start with one of those you already have.
yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I'll start with one of those just while people think about their questions. Yeah, but do have a think about, yeah, what you'd like to ask Sue, or just any comments that you have for her. So the first question is here. It's from Beth in WA. Hi, Sue. Thanks for being such a wonderful role model to so many people, including myself. My question for you is this. I know about permaculture divorces, how they usually come about when one person is on board with the permaculture values and their partner is not. I am in that predicament with my husband who doesn't want to make any of the changes I've started to put in place in our home. I'm wondering if you know of any examples of people who have navigated this challenge. Thanks so much.
Yes, in fact, while we were away on tour this last month, we were in South Sydney, and the person we were hosted by in South Sydney is exactly one of those. So his life is permaculture and music. So he's a musician, and his place is pretty amazing. She isn't into it at all. And so they live very harmoniously, they respect each other, and she has, in amongst all his permaculture garden, etc., she has a zone of resort zone. So the resort zone entails a swimming pool, lounges. These are all just outside the north side, which I call the front of the house, which is the backyard, not facing onto the street. So on the deck there's this swimming pool that's not massive, but big enough. And with the lounges around it, and they have a big metal dish with wood so you can have a little fire in there if it's a bit cooler or you want to cook something on it. And so I think she has a lot of her friends around there at the resort during that period of the year. At the moment, of course, that's not quite the period for them. They're a little bit cold, even though Sydney, in my book, is nowhere near cold. And she does the business side of things. They used to be in a business together, which is an online business. So she works from home. They're both at home a lot of the time, although during COVID, their business went into abeyance a bit. So they had to get a little bit of cash in, and he was doing gardening. But they're both home most of the time. So I really admire the fact that they have worked it so that they have separate domains, but like us, they spend most of their time at home. So for David and me, it's essential, after having lived and worked together for, what is it now, nearly 40 years, not quite, it's essential to have your separate domains. And where that's your field of interest and expertise and dominance, rightly or wrongly. And so my domain, of course, is food, not the food growing. It's in the house preparation of food. And so I do most of the meals. Dave does a little bit of cooking. And my domain is also the animal side of things. And then Dave, so it's my animals and it's his plants. So his domain is mostly the outdoors in the garden and the rest of the property, which is a hectare, which is quite dense and onerous in its needs and requirements. So seeing these two in South Sydney was really a blessing for me to see, because she actually, I think, with having her resort there, she doesn't spend a lot of time out consuming, which is great. She goes out with her girlfriends on a walk every morning. They go down to Georges River, cross the river, and then they go to a cafe. That's her consumption. She goes to a cafe with her mates of a morning before she starts work. And he has a little boat out the front, and he goes and fishes down in Georges River. So they're two things that they both do, Georges River, but separately. And he does all the cooking as well as the growing, and he has his garden totally stacked. And at the resort, just in front of the windows to the north, he has his little propagation table, very, inconspicuous. It's rather small. And so he's got the reflection off the pool to actually bring up his little seedlings. And they seem to work incredibly harmoniously. They have two boys, 18 and 21. Nobody but Matt does any work in the garden, which he would love them to do, love to get the boys out there, but they're all into fitness things together and good food. So he says he can't keep up with all the salad requirements of the boys, which I thought was a big plus. Kids at that age are no longer kids, they're own people. And it's a bit of a blessing when when your kids are into that much salad that you can't keep up the growing. So, that was a very good example that really made my heart sing. And we're hoping to have them do a retro suburbia case study that we can publish and put on the net for everybody to see.
And I hope when they do that they also include exactly what you were talking about, the different domains and different aspects of the responsibility and how they make that work.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think when Matt first met us at the door, he said, we're not all on board with permaculture, and that was the first thing he said to me. So he was painfully aware that there could be some criticism in there. But on the contrary, you know, we tried to emphasize how important that is as a role model for other people, because it's damned hard. It's damned hard. And you don't want to have a permaculture divorce. You know, this is not the aim of harmonious living.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Sue, for sharing that example. That's very rich. We have a question here that somebody's put in for Resh. Thanks so much. Thought I'd post my question here. Thanks so much. I'm a micro-educator teaching ag in a monoculture region. So my questions are, how can we help young people turn climate worry into action? And part two is, what important skill is often left out in permaculture learning and how can we teach that better? So part one is, how can we help young people turn climate worry into action?
Well, personally, I would like to see people stop worrying about climate and just think about their own realms of influence and action. And that being first and foremost at home for yourself. What you can change first and foremost is yourself. And that with examples of good living, your aspirations should be minor, really, in the terms of influencing outside. We are mere mortals. We're all just small individuals, none more than others, really. And if you stick to that, then you won't have the disappointments and the angsts yourself. And that's really important. And to lure people into just a better way of living, one by one, one by one. And if you influence 3 or 4, even 5 or 6 people around you, you've done an amazing job. And stick to your own little area, and ripples may flow from that. But don't have grandiose expectations, is my view. The second part, sorry?
Small and slow solutions.
Yeah, very small and slow solutions. And if you read the Permaculture Pioneers book, it shows that we are all individuals, very similar to each other, but that, you know, where people come from and where they go to in their own personal lives is pretty amazing. And if one of us can do that, most of us can do that. And the second part of the question was...
Second part, what important skill is often left out in permaculture learning or in permaculture education, and how can we teach that better?
Well, personally, I think that, again, I focus on the household. First and foremost, focus on yourself. Secondly, you focus on your family. And thirdly, you go out to the community. And I don't see it as permaculture education just as such. I see it just as a way of living that is a commonality that we can create with other people around us. And that starts basically with human interaction. Well, us people, we're always the problem because we don't know how to interact with each other and we don't know how to share things properly. And that's our biggest thing. And I don't think you teach that as such. You model these things. Education happens at a grassroots level, in my view. You don't do that in institutions and you don't do that, you know, through governments, in my view. That's my simple view. Because you have power in your own right, in your own sense, especially us women. Often I think women feel that they have not been empowered to do things. But I say we all have the power, just don't give that power away. Now, that's easier said than done, but just assume you have the power, not you assume you don't have the power. And if you still have male domination or discrimination, deal with it yourself. Don't expect anybody else to deal with it. Now, that's not to say that 100% can be done in that realm, but a lot of it can be dealt with. Like if you've got a macho bloke, you know, trying to dominate you a bit, you pull him up and tell him, hey, mate, we can't relate like this. You're pushing me away. Come on, let's stay connected. So again, that's my realm of influence, and that can be yours. So that, some of you may be educators out there. How many of you work in institutions or schools or something like that? Yep. So that for you is probably a difficult thing to hear, is it? Can you unmute?
Yes,
So I can
sorry.
hear your
Yes,
answer.
it is, but it's also very true.
Yeah.
I understand that the influence that you can have is wherever you have reach.
Yeah.
And that's just your reach. The impact and influence is wherever you can actually reach. And beyond that, hopefully becomes like a domino effect, but it's up to you.
Yeah. Well, don't have too many hopes. I think disappointment and expectation is what I've realized has killed a lot of my influence, especially within the family, within the extended family. My expectations of what others in that family, in my kids' families, etc., can do is just a detrimental part of our relating. It's kept us separate. And it took me a lot of years to realize, quit the expectation. And as soon as I dropped the expectation, things started to improve. So expectation, we must not have big expectations. Be happy with the little advances that you make. So even within the school stuff, you're stuck in that, fine, that's okay. You can work within that realm. But what comes from within you and is shared with someone is the most important thing. Not to be seen, in my view, as teaching somebody something, because that puts people on that different level. We're just all human beings. We've got to relate that way, not focus on our differences, focus on our commonalities and bring each other together that way.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sue. And thank you, Paresh, for your questions. Yeah, really juicy.
Yeah, and we mustn't be afraid to discuss these things. If you have a different idea to me, that is fine. We've lost the ability often to challenge each other on these things and to discuss it. To play the ball, we're often playing the man. Like your next door neighbour, he or she might be a redneck to the nth degree or whatever, but you have commonalities. It's amazing what you can find in a way of commonalities.
That's so true. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sue, if I could please ask you just to move the top of the laptop down a little bit because we've lost
Again?
you. That's it.
Yeah.
So Alison has posted her question here, which I'll read out. Hi, Sue. Thanks for this time to share and speak. My question for you is more about sharing your reflections. Sometimes I find really good flow in my preserving, using preserved foods, and maintaining the garden and home. Other times, like right this moment, I end up unwell and have a few days of intensive couch time to rest and recovery. I know the rest and recovery is important, but I struggle to navigate the feelings that follow that I need to catch up on lost time. Do you have any wisdom on navigating this part of the flow of life better? Great question. Thank you.
It's a really good question, that one. And I reckon I'd probably say that if you have to have couch time, you're probably overdoing it a bit in the first place. And that I think I feel the same from time to time. And I think all of us who are out there doing stuff do collapse in a heap from time to time for various reasons. And to honour yourself, I think, that way. And again, drop the expectation that you can always be all things to all people and to all creatures out there. And that if you're not well and if you're not looking after yourself, then somebody else has to look after you. So that's the basis of my thought. When I am unwell, The rest of the world could fall over as far as I'm concerned. I just go to bed, that's it, and I get up when I'm better. So that's my way of dealing with these things. And I do get sick from time to time. I got sick while I was away. I got a tick bite, and then I got really cold out going to waterfalls and things. And I was in bed for 4 days, and the first 2 days I had a really high fever. But that's it. That's my medicine. Bed, the world can fall over, and then 4 days, done and dusted. It was all good again. And there was a lot of worry. Ticks can be a real problem. You can get Lyme disease, this, that, and the other. But I think because I got sick and I dealt with it straight away, to bed, let the fever, get it all out of my body. I had a sort of a rash come out in the body, not quite a rash, but you have expelling of toxins from your body often results in little scabs here and there and comes out the skin. So I had quite a lumpy back for maybe a week, and slowly that, I'd scrub all the scabs off and whatever, and that was dealing with that. So the body is an amazing thing. And yeah, expectations. Too many expectations of others and ourselves.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Sue. And thanks so much, Alison. That's a great question. Also, what I've noticed about you, Sue, as well, is that you are the queen of the cat nap.
Oh, yeah, cat nap,
yeah.
Literally the cat nap. After lunch, I am 78, so it's kind of like, no, I can't quite do those things I always did. And I go to bed early. I sleep pretty well because I'm tired at the end of the day. But after lunch, I might have had a bit of extra lunch again. So I go into my sort of food comery bit. So I go and have a bit of a quick siesta outside on the bench in the greenhouse at this time of year. And the cat nap thing is because the cat is in his basket sleeping during the day out there. So we have a snooze on that bench out there together. It might be only 10, 15 minutes. And then you're up and doing whatever.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be every day. Sometimes you might sleep for an hour.
I've always admired that about you, just that ability to go lie down. And then you've got so much energy for the rest of the things that you need to do.
Yep. It's good. And the greenhouse is such a great place in winter. When you've got the sun coming in there, then you've got the doors all opened up and your house is being warmed up by the sun from the greenhouse, and you strip off all your jumpers and everything when you go into the greenhouse. So I have a sort of a siesta sauna sometimes, which is good.
Beautiful. Thank you. A question from Joe. How do you feel about the term homesteading?
Yeah, look, it seems very American to me. And I live in Australia, so I don't want to speak American, but actually I don't dislike it. I quite like it.
So we have so I work for Sue and David in their office, and our tech guy has looked at like the most popular 100 terms to do with permaculture. So permaculture learning, permaculture education, permaculture thinking, and one, always at the top for the last couple of years has been permaculture homesteading. And so now that seems to be a term that in our work that we use a lot more, especially in terms of the Do We Sue course, because it gets the search engine optimization. People are looking for that, so we use it more and more, even though yes, it is American. And also I know Limestone Permaculture, who are up in, is it Central Coast or South Coast or wherever they are, or I'm not sure where they are, somewhere north of here, that they're now running a homesteading PDC, which is the regular 72 hours, but also squeezed in there a lot more of the practical stuff, which is what you do, Sue. And so that question that we had before about what's not taught, what is the important skill, was that Paresh's? Yes. What important skill is often left out? For me, I think it's the practical stuff. It's so academic and it's so intellectual and cerebral. There isn't enough of the hands-on, hands in the soil, hands in the kitchen sink kind of learning that is,
Yeah.
or demonstrations that are shown on PDCs. And so I think that homesteading aspect is usually the doing, not just the saying.
Yeah,
Can,
yes.
can I
Most
just,
people learn through doing.
Yeah.
You know, I would say kids at school, 75% of them don't learn through rote. So, you know, most of us learn that way. We all learn that way, but most of us don't do well just through the intellect. And the intellect, it stems also from the gut, and it's only part of our being and our way of taking in, you know, our learning things. And so I believe that if we don't start at the gut, and the gut is, of course, where all your health comes from, and it's no, you know, it's a no-brainer that the center, the core of your body is right here between your head and your legs, and that the focus must be in there. And if your gut isn't good, then I think the things that follow are really detrimental to everything in your life. So to focus on the intellect all the time, and there is a lot of focus on the intellect through the PDCs, but the PDC has kind of that format, and that the spin-offs from that for other courses are, it's essential that they be there as well. And I think getting together and doing things together practically is you know, essential, and can be in courses, of course, even though I have my emphasis away from courses and things. Sharing skills is where I'm at.
Yeah.
can I just add to that question that I asked? I get asked a lot what it is that I do, and you know, sort of in interviews and stuff. Oh no, what's happening with my computer? And I just want to know how to describe what I do in it very shortly and succinctly. So I've been using the term homesteading, but I just don't think it quite matches what I'm doing here, which is what you guys are doing as well. And I'm just like, what is a good way to describe it shortly and succinctly? I just can't quite find the word.
Yeah, which is why for us personally, we use subsistence permaculture, and also we call ourselves neo-peasants. For us, you know, for us that explains what we do. Yeah, but you're right about the Americanism of the term homesteading. Although it does, you know, we need to come up with new terms, of course, to change the culture.
I've been using radical homesteading because I've heard that bandied around a bit, and that's kind of more it kind of matches what I'm doing here a little bit better. But
can be radical homemaking. That's a term that's been employed by Sharon Hayes.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, radical homemaking.
Have you read that book, Jo?
No.
It's called Radical Homemakers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. And
Okay.
the subheading is Reclaiming Domesticity from Consumer Culture.
Oh, brilliant. That's right up my alley.
It's a great title.
Yeah.
And I think that revolutionized thinking for so many different people, especially women, but not just women. We've got to remember that the homesteading is not just women.
I'm also trying to reclaim the term wife, you know, finding Annabelle Crabb's book, which is quite old now, but the you know, what woman doesn't want a wife? Every woman wants a wife, you know, reclaiming that concept as well. And that's something that I've been talking about with people as well.
Yeah.
Which is very loaded.
It is. It's very loaded, especially with all the gender stuff that's around now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jo, for that. Yeah, that question. So I've just put
Meg's much more helpful in this area.
So I've just put in the chat there a link to Radical Homemakers for those who haven't heard of the book.
Oh, great.
We've got another question here from Sarah. Hi, Sue. Can't express enough gratitude to you for today and all the years of wisdom you've offered. My question relates to a great change of lifestyle our household is about to encounter. My kids are 14 and 11 and have always homeschooled. Next year, both kids will move on from our nest during the days and take the next step in their education. I will go back to work as a naturopath, and I'm quite apprehensive that I won't be able to keep all the permaculture balls in the air. What do you advise I do now to prepare for this huge change?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question, Sarah, can you clarify if you're going back full time or is that part time or?
Is that working?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh. I would like to be working as much as I can. However, with my girl going to high school, I'll still be having to be available from 3 o'clock onwards for her. So it can't really be a 9 to 5 thing, whatever it is that I do. It'll probably be a health food shop situation, probably in a mall, in a shopping centre, which, I haven't done that for years. So that's terrifying of itself. But if I can continue to work from home and build a clientele here, I think that's probably ideal for the family, but I'm still going to be taken away from all the activity that I've been maintaining.
So why are you choosing this big change?
Actually, in the case of the eldest, he's going on to an academy for, basically kids in his situation, kids who have been homeschooled or haven't fitted into school. And it's an institution where they take kids and help them scaffold them through the process of getting to uni or whatever it is they choose to do. So he's really at the end of his homeschooling. The little one has chosen not to be bored at home without a brother. So she's heading to high school through her own choice.
Yep, all good. And what about you?
For me, if I'm not prioritising the children, then I need to be working. We've sacrificed the second income through the homeschooling journey as much as we can.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do everything. That's the point.
That is, yeah.
And I think, so what are the things, try and prioritise the things that you're doing now that you really can't give up, and just go down your list from there, I think, because that's you're kind of wanting to live both lives, but
it's
not a big dilemma.
So from your perspective, I know what you've always said is create a home-based lifestyle to the extent that that's possible.
Yeah. So you say you've sacrificed the second income. So what do you need that income for?
We are still servicing a giant mortgage.
Yeah. Is there any way you can downsize from that? Because mortgage is always a killer and it's not going to improve in my view.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think so, but I will keep that in mind as, the best advice. At the moment, we're very urban. We're very close to the city, which is, for the eldest to be going to university or whatever it is he's going to be doing. It's good to be close in. I think that if the kids found out we lived where we live and then moved, they'd probably kill us in the next couple of years. But eventually, to move out a bit would be ideal.
Right. So in town you can't downsize in town. Where are you?
We're in Perth.
Yep.
And we're very urban. We're very sort of city surrounds.
So could you start sort of, how long do you think then the kids will be at school? One's 14 and the others?
So it's probably 10 years for the eldest.
Another 10. Yeah. That's really difficult.
Yeah.
Mortgage is always a killer.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's a tricky situation.
Sorry, I can't be very helpful on that one.
Well, it's good. It's a good perspective still. It's still it still helps to hear the priorities, reinforced.
Yeah.
And also, if I might add something, I would say, Sarah, like, what do you love? What is it about, living a permaculture life way that you can't give up? Whether it's growing tomatoes and making passata, whether it's having your herbs, whether it's having your chickens, like, what are you absolutely not going to give up? Like, what are you passionate about? And if that's just the one thing that you can do, then do that, because also you need to model for your kids. Your soul is singing, like that you're not a wage slave. You're doing something that you love and that you're passionate about, and that the home is still a place that's alive for you, and that you need to keep it alive so your kids can see, how they can how they can have a foot in both camps, because you're modeling how they can work in the monetary economy and still keep some aspect of the home economy flowing.
Yes, awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Excellent, Meg.
Good luck. That's a really big journey for you guys.
Very big.
Vaguely terrifying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question.
Thanks.
We have a question here from Natalie. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, Sue. We moved to our farm 7 years ago to be able to live self-sufficient-ish. We have 3 kids who we homeschool, 15, 11, and 9. The past few years, hubby has had less time to help on the farm due to the startup of a new business, which I'm grateful that he has this outlet and we have the financial benefit from it. Have you ever had moments when the workload seems too much, or you've struggled with motivation or overwhelm? I'm struggling to keep the garden, which was always my domain, but I did get some help. I'm educating the kids, I'm cooking from scratch and keeping a home. We love this lifestyle, but I feel like my workload is just unattainable at the moment. The children do have age-appropriate chores. My 15-year-old is incredibly helpful and skilled as he loves farm life. But how do you manage those aspects of just like the overwhelm when everything feels a bit too much?
Well, the aspects of overwhelm, I can see the only way to deal with that is to drop some of those off. And that, as Meg was talking about before, see which things you really can't let go of, and the ones that you can let go of, the ones that are on the edge, that if the kids can't help you with, or maybe if income doesn't allow you to get some extra help. I've from time to time got extra help in the house to run the house when I was doing a lot of the other things, paid help, and that was a big plus for me, helped me get through some of those periods where I thought, oh, I just can't do this. So when there's the income, then that can be a big help.
One of the things that Sue has shared many times before, which is that you just need 3 households to create a new normal. And my question for you, Natalie, is are there 2 other households in your walker sphere or in your community who can get together and help with the big jobs? Because our peasant ancestors, that's what they would all do. They would help each other with the big jobs, whether it's weeding or whether it's having big food processing days, or, everyone brings their sewing machines to one household and you all do like a big sew up together or whatever it is, but that you do things collectively as much as you can, because that's where the joy is, and it helps to alleviate that stress because it's fun.
And with the kids,
we have tried
the same. Yeah. Sorry? You have
Sorry,
tried?
I'm not well at the moment. We have tried that before. So our homeschooling community are all like-minded and we all live a very similar lifestyle. And we've tried the community and gathering at each other's houses and helping with chores, but it's never been sustainable in the long run. So it'll happen for a couple of times, or and then it'll kind of fizzle out. But yeah, I think once we get on our feet a bit more with the startup of business costs, that getting someone in to help me maybe with the garden was probably the most sustainable way to continue, I suppose.
And whether whether you can do a swap with somebody or whether you can get a volunteer in, even for a week at a time or a couple of days, just somebody to give you a hand. Then you don't have to rely on paying them, which can be excessive.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great question. Really great question. That's all for. I've got one more question that somebody sent in, but before I go to that, does anybody else have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself or feel free to put it in the chat. Any other questions?
Yep.
Yeah, hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Sharon.
Sue.
Yep, we can hear you well.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Sue. I had a bunch of questions, but actually, so much of them have been answered already. So thank you. And
Oh, good.
Yes, great. But what's left on my list is a super duper practical kitchen question. My children eat so many pickles, like cucumber pickles, whole cucumber pickles. They just love them. And I can't quite nail a recipe. So I'm wondering if that's something you do. And I'm wondering from scratch, like which variety of cucumber you would grow. I know they all don't ripen at the same time. So is that something you would do, successively over the summer period? How do you keep them crunchy? Yeah.
Well, I have been doing pickling for quite a long time, but now I've gotten to the stage where people around me like Meg do pickling a million times better than I do. So I'm now, and Katie and all those around me who live here and in the community, I go to them for these answers to these questions. So Meg, go for it, please. Tell us how these cucumbers stay crunchy.
It's a great question because it's the same in our household. My 12-year-old is just like a pickle fiend.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of things that I do to keep that crunch. The first thing is to grow gherkins, which is like the pickling gherkins, and don't pick them when they're
That's a variety?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yes. And the gherkins
Gherkin.
are specific for pickling. If you let them go too big, you can just eat them as cucumbers. Usually you peel them because the skin's quite bitter. But their skin is quite hard. And so that's what you want to keep the crunch.
Okay.
And so if you don't let them get too big, because if they get too big and you pickle them, they'll just go mushy. Also, I
Happens with the rest of the varieties too, doesn't it?
Yes, so you can
pick them small.
Pick them small. Even with things like zucchinis, if you have a glut, just pick the really small ones and you can pickle those as well, and they just taste like cucumbers. But so with the gherkins, I also
very good substitute for cucumbers.
Yeah. Also with the gherkins, I cut off like a couple of millimeters of the flower end of each pickle, of each gherkin.
Gherkin, yep.
So there's got two sides. One is the stem side, one's the flower. Just like you shave off a bit of the flower end, because that's where the hormone is released to make them like go soft.
As in off the cucumber itself?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you pick it. One side is the flower end, one side is the stem end. The flower end, you just shave off a tiny bit of the end. Like seriously, a couple of millimeters of each single gherkin from the flower end.
Oh,
so that helps keep the crunch.
And so then you're just shaving off these little bits and putting that into your mix?
No, you don't need to put. You usually just eat it or compost it.
Oh, okay. So just by shaving it, exposing something.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Removing it.
Okay. Yeah.
And
now that's something I never did.
Okay.
Okay.
And if you're gonna eat them straight away, then it doesn't really matter. But if you are making a lot and you want them to last, I find that is a really important step. The next thing for crunch is to make sure you get the salt to water ratio right. So the brine the brine mix, and I use a 3% brine, which is 2 tablespoons of salt. No, sorry, 1 tablespoon of salt per 2 cups of water. And I use pink lake salt. And I find that that's, yeah, so no salt with caking agent, anything like that I would ever use. And if you have rainwater, then use rainwater. And
not
also
chlorinated
to include,
water.
What's that?
Not chlorinated water.
Yeah, not chlorinated.
Town water.
And if you only have access to town water and chlorinated water, I would put it into a big, like a bowl, and then just let it off gas. And then ideally even a glass bowl, and then put it in direct sun, because the UV will kill harmful things, and just to let the chemicals off gas. We don't actually need to do that here because we are on tank water. And the next thing for crunchiness, is to include some kind of tannin leaf in each jar. So whether it's an oak leaf, usually pickle season, our grapevines are full of leaves, so I'll just put, a few grape leaves, vine leaves in each jar. You can use tea bags. You can use horseradish leaves. You can just look up leaves with high amounts of tannin in it and just put those in. If you are going to use tea leaves, I know people who make pots of tea and then put it in. I would put it in a little, like a cloth bag or something, or just tea bag it in the water, and then don't put the tea leaves in with the pickles, because they just get everywhere and it's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably my go-tos. Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Meg. And are you doing that? Because obviously you're not picking them all at once. It's not just one big glut. So you're just doing that successively over the season.
I am. Yeah.
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 And yeah, which is a bit annoying. I prefer to do it in one go, like we do with like Jerusalem artichokes or carrots and other things that I pickle. But sometimes if I can see I've got a few days of a lot coming on, I'll just stick them in water in the fridge. And then that will keep them crispy and crunchy enough until I'm ready to do the whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Yay, thank you. And then do you just keep them in the fridge? Like how long would they last in the fridge?
So before I pickle them or after?
Like after, how long would, I mean, once they're pickled, then
we
how
have
do they last the longest?
Yeah, we have a cellar. That's probably cold enough, or you've got a cellar. Yeah, so I just usually
and pop them in.
Yeah, so I just put them in the cellar, and that seems to be cold enough. And there's always an open jar in the fridge, but usually until I'm ready to put them in.
Just keep them in there.
Yeah, just keep them in the cellar.
Okay.
Or alternatively, if you have a cool room on the south side of the house that you don't heat, that may be cool enough.
Or do you keep something in there to keep them under the brine?
Yes. Yes.
Those leaves will do the job.
Use the leaf for that?
They're usually a leaf, but if they want to float to the top, I have collected over the years a whole lot of shot glasses of different sizes, and I usually put one of those inside the jar and then put the lid on, so the glass keeps all the pickles under the brine.
That's a good idea. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, people use like boiled river rocks and things like that. Yeah, I just have the shot glasses. For me, that's really easy, and depending on the size of the jar. And I always leave a little bit of room, so there's enough room at the top for the jar. Great. We might move on because we've got a bunch of questions to get through. Anything else, Shan, before we?
No, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so thanks, Natalie, for your question. Agustina, thank you for your question. Hello, Sue and everyone. It's such a privilege to be here. I live in a very small town in Patagonia, Argentina, less than 500 people. I moved a year ago with my partner and our 2-year-old daughter. I'm trying to figure out how to approach or be part of the community while there are so many like-minded people, not so many like-minded people so far, especially around the topic of homeschooling our daughter, but many other topics too. I wish I would interact more, but I kind of protect myself from hostile interactions in such a small community. I would like to know your thoughts about it. Thank you. And number 2, my partner and I, we are building a mud home ourselves. We work together. We both dedicate lots of time to raise our daughter. We don't have yet, hopefully, an organisation about this and mine domains. We feel so motivated with our projects, but at the same time, we struggle to get along with all of these debates and decisions and things going on. Any thoughts about this dynamic within the relationship? Well, it sounds like there are 2 questions there. One of them is about, yourselves as a family interacting with a small community. Perhaps there aren't similar values that you can see so far. And then the second one is you with your partner. Is that right, Agustina?
Yes. Hi. That's right. I'm sorry that I speak Spanish as my first language, so maybe it was like not so easy to understand. But yes, it's 2 different questions, and especially the first one is about how especially because my partner already is working here in this town, and he works in mud construction, like natural building, but I am still not working because I quit when my daughter was born. So I don't find the way to interact with the community, and I feel this because of our society, maybe in Argentina. I find it difficult to find these people like-minded, and I don't feel comfortable if I feel exposed about these ideas that maybe are like too alternative in our society. But at the same time, I need more people around. I need help with my daughter and many other things that, we need the community.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, you always need your community, don't you? No matter what your situation is, but you have a lot on your plate at the minute. So then you're feeling the need for that interaction as well. You're missing that, yeah? So basically, I think that, do you know other people with kids the same age as your daughter?
Yes, and they have this idea of all kids are going to the local school.
But your daughter's 3, did you say?
2.
2. So what about 2-year-olds? Are there any other 2, 3-year-olds, mums that have got very young children?
Yeah, there are like 5 of them, but they are all planning to send them to school.
Yeah, well, but right now, I think just be where you are and don't worry about sending them, whether they're sending them to school or not, but try and get some commonalities already now. Can you get to know those ones a bit better so that you can actually maybe do kid swaps occasionally, and that your daughter will inevitably come up against things that you don't like, but in effect, is that more important, or is it more important to have that interaction with these other people that you might, if you don't have any interactions with people, you can't have any influence over what they do, because they don't see where you're at, or they don't have any other examples. So if you can somehow relate to them by going for a walk together somewhere, or doing something together, preparing things together in terms of food, or that you can include the kids in, or something like that. I would suggest that would be a way to start that out. And don't have too many expectations, because again, you'll be disappointed. And, you know, maybe there are some of the fathers as well as the mothers that maybe your partner has relationship with, and that maybe you could share a dinner sometime, or I know that that's onerous when you are so involved in doing your own building, etc. You're in a very intense stage of your lives, but that may be worthwhile investigating. And within the family yourselves, you know, that's you're working together all the time, so that forms problems in itself when you're troubleshooting things, the same things as you were saying. You're pretty equal in the things that you're doing. Am I understanding rightly? Yeah.
Yes, and it's like it's all mixed right now, and we wish we could like separate more like the tasks, but right now we can't. It's like I'm building the house too, and sometimes I wish to take care more of my daughter and the house, but right now it's like we both do what we can when we can, and help each other. And that help sometimes is like equal to discussions and problems. And
absolutely. Because you're under stress for time, and it's a bit inevitable that happen. Are you able to, do you have your daughter on the building site then?
Yes, we had this summer. It's winter here now, and oh, sorry, where you are too.
Yeah, we're in winter.
And we this summer we spent it like building this cabin, and we managed to like get it like warm and safe. And I think the worst part is past. I would say that, but we still have a lot of work to do. And this is a place like very far from Buenos Aires, which is where we were born. So we are like, we don't have family here. And yes, I usually like take care of my daughter, but I do what I can at the same time to like get things done.
So are you able to share that responsibility of her on the building site? First of all, are there just the two of you, or do you have other help for building?
No, it's the two of us and friends that came like in this situation of like collective construction.
So what I'm asking, I guess, is like when we were building the house here, we were in the same position. We had a house elsewhere we were living in, and we could walk to here, but generally would drive to here because of tools, etc. And that Oliver was 17 months old when I went back to work to get more money to build the house, because we didn't have much money. And David had Oliver on the building site. And that meant that he couldn't get as much done as would normally happen. But in effect, that really was the basis of his education about where things come from, how you build, etc. And that's an essential part, I think, of children's learning. This is a unique opportunity for your daughter to learn these things. So basically, David had to, you know, in the end, Oliver, when he would get upset, he'd cry for Mama Dave, you know, so he was the substitute for me totally there. And I think that for the relationship made a big difference between those two. The second thing I found that was really good was because he hadn't birthed, because he hadn't birthed the child, he wasn't the woman that, you know, you have a strong attachment that seems almost physical until the children are quite big. Because he didn't have that, then he was not so drawn in to all the whinging of the child. You know, that I found Oliver did a lot more crying and whinging with me than he did with David. And I think that is a very big plus to have your kid over there, and some of it they just don't notice. And you can say, oh, well, that's not providing for the kid's needs, but I think it's actually really good for the kid. So to have those different ways of interacting, the child learns that from early on. So if somehow you could have some separation where your partner does take responsibility for your daughter and then you are concentrating on other things, I think that was a good thing for us. So I think that also helps in the relationship if you're not there watching what he does and leave it to him totally and can accept that. And so it's easier if you're not quite there. So if you're doing something else totally. So yeah, that would be my recommendation for both of those things.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Agustina. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sue. We've come to the end of our Q&A. Yeah, thanks so much, Sue, for your time and your sharing your wisdom with all of us.
Thank you, Meg, for yours.
Thanks, everyone, for your attention and your interest. And yeah, we're going to be starting filming season 2 of Do With Sue, hopefully in the springtime, so in a couple of months. So if you have any burning questions for Sue or specific areas of interest that you're hoping that Sue will cover in season 2, put them in the chat, or you can email us at info@holmgren.com.au, and I'll put it here. So actually we've got a Do With Sue email address. I think it's Do With Sue.
Can I just add, while you're thinking of putting it in, that last thing that I would say to you, Agustina, is that when you look back on this period of your life, even though it's intense, etc., you'll remember it with great affection. We do.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's like a part that I try to repeat to myself because it's like so difficult, but at the same time I wish it's like worth it because it's like the future we want for us and especially for her. So but it's so difficult.
Yeah. Keep your expectations a bit lower.
Yeah. Yeah, I once heard a saying which is keep your standards high and your expectations low.
Yes, that's a good one.
That's a good one, isn't it? Well, thanks so much, everybody. Yeah. Look forward to seeing you next time. And yeah, so there's Do With Sue season 1 still available. And on our Retro Suburbia official Instagram page is where Sun, who's our social media guru, and he posts lots of little video clips of Sue talking and sharing her wisdom.
I had a request from a young lad who was 4 at one event I was at, who said his mum had said that he'd watched the bread making, and I asked him if he did the bread making, and he kind of said yes. And while I was chatting to his mum, he piped up and said, Sue, I needed you to make a video for me on how to make muffins. So I kind of went, oh, okay. So I kind of committed to learning how to make muffins myself to be able to make him a little video.
Oh, that's lovely.
So I was stoked with that. So good luck, everybody. And I'm sorry I didn't speak to all of you individually. That's always something that I like to do.
Can I put in a plug for the online PDC, or have you already done that, Meg?
No, I haven't. Yes. Everybody, this is Beck Lowe, who is the Holmgren Design Education Coordinator or Education Manager, and also David Holmgren's editor and Permi legend. Yes, over to you, Beck.
Yeah, so if you can handle being online for a while, we've got another PDC, permaculture design course, starting in a couple of weeks. That's all online, and yeah, what is it, Tuesday evenings and every second Sunday for a couple of hours. So deep dive into permaculture and a range of topics. Have a look at the website. Yep.
Great. And I'll just
we're about to run out of power by the look of this. We're not plugged in.
All right, we're not plugged in. All right.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks very much, Meg.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Enjoy your journey.
Mm-hmm.